Hello, I'm Paul and I'll be narrating for your listening pleasure. Welcome to another cozy old maple home video, chock full of thrifting secondhand decor, vintage charm, and Elizabeth turning her dressing room into a lovely vanity, where she can store and display all her beloved beauty products. Consider subscribing to experience more of Elizabeth and her old maple home.
Okay, so this is the space that I want to give a little refresh to and create like a really pretty vanity setup with a new table and a stool and just make it look nice and definitely more functional. So this is our dressing room. This is the only room in our house where we have any like closet space for clothes. The whole room needs an enormous makeover. Obviously something that we haven't gotten to yet, but we have big ideas and big dreams for this space. I've never shared this space because, like I said, it needs a lot of work, but we're just gonna focus on this area right here and make some big changes just with kind of the things that I already have. So this is what I've been using for my vanity space. It's just an IKEA cabinet. I used this when I was a hairstylist and it worked out really well for that purpose, but it's not the best for a vanity because, as you can see, I have to stand up to it. It doesn't have a very big surface for my makeup and stuff. I was a makeup artist for a really long time, so I love makeup. I love skincare and all that stuff, so I think it'll be nice to have a nice dedicated space to enjoy one of my passions at. So I have pillows over here in storage. We have a vacuum up here, but I have limited space to work with. But I think I can work my magic and make this look 100 times better. So I started looking for a vintage vanity on Facebook Marketplace. I've seen a couple options, but just nothing that I'm sold on yet. However, I do have a table that I think will work in the meantime that I thrifted years ago and refinished. Here's the table that I'm thinking will work out pretty well for the time being until I find something else. It's just a really pretty table. I found this up north at a Goodwill, I think, and it was only $10 and brought it home. I refinished the top because it was really rough. It's just a veneer, so some spots I kind of went a little too deep when I sanded it, but it does look way better than it did. So we're gonna move this in. I also have this mirror that potentially we could use, but I also have a ton of mirrors that we can just actually put up on the wall. And then I have a little stool that I'll show you that I'm planning on using. So that's the plan. But first I need to get this area kind of cleaned out and organized. I need to find a new place for these pillows to go and get it cleaned up really good in here. I'm sure it's kind of messy underneath this portion of that dresser since it hasn't been moved in a while. So let's just work on doing that and then we'll go from there.
As Elizabeth begins moving the organized clutter from one closet to another, she feels a slight delusion of accomplishment and chooses to ignore the mess she just made in another room of the house. Join Elizabeth at Goodwill as her keen eye for secondhand treasures searches for appropriate beauty supply vessels. These new to her vessels will beautifully display and hold makeup brushes, lip glosses, and more on her new vanity space.
All right, let me show you what I have going on here. So when I was thrifting, I was looking for a brush or more brush containers. I only have these two right now and they're not working the best. We saw that I grabbed that tray. So right now I have this thrifted mirrored tray and it's kind of overflowing. There's a couple things I got off of Amazon that I knew I wouldn't be able to find at the thrift store, so we'll get that stuff set up. But yeah, this is just such a mess and it's a little embarrassing to show you, but I'm excited to finally take some time and make this look so much nicer and neater. So, but of course I need to show you the before. So, and then in here I just have more makeup. Like I said, I was a makeup artist for a very long time, so I have quite the collection. I have a ton of makeup palettes, and it's just so much of the stuff I don't use because it's kind of tucked away and I don't see it. Some hair stuff in here. So hopefully once I get all organized, I'll be more likely to sit down and take time to use some of my nice makeup products that I have.
A triumph for Elizabeth, the cabinet fits like a glove in its new space. Elizabeth then promptly turns her attention to giving this soon-to-be vintage makeup vanity area a good vacuuming. And she even finds herself enthusiastically wiping down the walls. Already, what a transformation!
All right, so that little storage cabinet fit perfectly in here, so I can still utilize that for storage, so that'll be really nice. And now I have all this space for my vanity to go. We're gonna go grab that table and bring it in here. And here's the stool that I was thinking of using. So pretty. I think that'll go really, really nice. It's like the perfect style. I also have a blue version of that, so we'll see if maybe we want to do the blue instead, but I have that one in the foyer and I kind of like how it looks. So let's test it and see if it's going to be the right height. So now what I need is a mirror. I'm thinking a big oval mirror to go on this wall, and I have plenty to pick from. So we'll go up to my stash up on the 3rd floor and see which one we like the most. I think I know which one I have in mind, but I'll take you up there and we'll take a look together and see what's gonna work out the best. All right, venture with me up to the 3rd floor. Lots of exciting treasures hiding away up here. Okay. You may have seen this space before. I've shared it a few times. But here are my mirrors and some extra art. This is kind of the baby room. I think we're gonna have to clear this out here pretty soon because our little guy's already almost 1. So this is the mirror that I'm thinking. Oh, you know what? I don't know if this one I can mount. Oh no. This one doesn't have any mounting hardware. Let me take that out and see if there's something we can do.
To be frank, Elizabeth is rationally aware that her love of thrifting has led to an overabundance of vintage home decor. However, she feels less guilty about her tendency to overcollect when she can shop her stash and find the perfect piece. Such as this gorgeous vintage mirror she found in a free pile at a local charity shop.
But I do think that's my favorite one for that space. It'll be the best shape and everything. Because I have a smaller oval one, but I think we want to do the bigger of the two options. And then I also have some other pretty things. Ooh, I have a shelf. What about this? That would be pretty. Because it's very champagne, which actually might be pretty. Ooh. And I have some pretty like jewelry boxes. So here's an idea of what the mirror would look like. And then here's this shelf. See, I'm not sure we're gonna use it. Okay, here's a look at what the mirror is gonna look like. I think it's gonna be really, really pretty. The stool. I'm not sure about that shelf. That might not end up working out, but I do have a couple things. So you saw me thrift this, and we're gonna put makeup brushes in that. I thought that was really pretty. It's definitely older. It's got a lot of crazing on it. It says made in Japan or made in Taiwan on the bottom. I did Google lens it and I couldn't find anything, but it's that pretty Tiffany blue color. I can't, what is that, like a drum on there? Not quite sure. Looked like a drum and a bird, but the colors were pretty. Okay, so now I need to figure out how I want to organize all of this. Okay, I have my wire for my mirror, and now I just need to figure out where I'm going to attach it. I need to find a couple screws that are across from each other, and I'm thinking probably these two. The only thing is this one's not really out far enough, so I might need to try and see if I can screw that out a ways. So that's the plan. All right, managed to get this hung, stuck it behind the screws on either side. And so now we just need to hang it up on the wall. Okay, so just for options, I also have this really pretty like antique platter that I could use instead of this mirrored tray. And this kind of has a little bit of the blue-green color in it, which would look pretty with this thrifted container that's now holding all of my makeup brushes. And if you want me to tell you what some of these things are, I can. This is a dark spot correction serum, hyaluronic acid. I have some caffeine solution for under eyes. I have retinol. This probably makes the biggest difference, but I'm not using it right now while I'm breastfeeding. I don't think you're supposed to use it while you're breastfeeding. This is rosehip oil for gua sha. Just makes your skin nice and slick. This is my fancy face moisturizer, Tatcha Dewy Skin Cream. It makes your skin glow and dewy. And then I have the mist that you can spray on once your makeup is all done. I like to just kind of focus this on my cheekbones. So I'll cover the rest of my face and just let it hit my cheekbones so they look nice and high and dewy. And then this is, I kind of use this for my eyes. It's for your eyes and your face, but I mainly stick to my eyes for that one. So that's my skin cream. And let me tell you about this. This is something new that I just got. It's It Cosmetics, which I really like because it's always very hydrating. So anti-aging armor. Again, just a moisturizing super cream. I think as we age, our skin just needs that extra bit of moisture. And then I've always used the Clinique Moisture Surge. And I have one with SPF and one without. It's just kind of like a nice all-purpose type of a cream. And then I love Kerastase, their elixir. And I also love Monet Rejuvenique oil. So that's kind of my bread and butter for my skincare as far as keeping wrinkles and stuff away and keeping the texture nice and all that stuff. And then in here, everything's organized. I gave my mom a ton of makeup, so I have a lot less to have to worry about now. But yeah, I've got my foundations and concealers and bronzers and brows and mascaras, blushes and things in the back. So this one drawer is pretty much holding everything. Okay, since I'm going to be outside today, I'm going to start with my Clinique Moisture Surge with SPF 28 on that one. And then to brighten up my under eyes, make me look a little less tired and like I have a baby, we're going to use this Tula Glow and Get It Cooling and Brightening Eye Balm. Actually, first I want to put the caffeine under my eyes. We need all the extra help we can get when it comes to brightening up around our eyes because our eyes is what really shows aging. So if we can keep our eyes looking fresh and bright and awake, we are going to be way ahead. So I am going to be 40 here in a couple months. And yeah, I've been doing minimal skincare and stuff since I was probably 17. I think I remember getting like a L'Oreal serum from the store and just using that every single day. And now as you age, it's more like 60% skincare and 40% makeup. So it's kind of reversed. But this stuff, this Tula Glow and Get It eye balm is my absolute favorite stuff ever. I use this every single day. It feels so good. And it has a nice brightening effect to it. So it's going to give you a little bit of shimmer, a little bit of brightening. So I do like to kind of blend it out a little bit because you are going to see that shimmer. So we don't want it to be like a harsh line at all. So it's always good if you're going to wear concealer to kind of prep your eye area. Make sure it's moisturized, and that's going to make it a lot less crepey when you go to put on your concealer. So for concealer, I normally wouldn't do this much makeup, especially since I'm just going outside and stuff. A brow gel, a colored one or a clear one. This is a colored one by Benefit. And this is just kind of like hairspray for your brows. This will keep them in place. And so again, you want to kind of bring the hairs upward. And another tip when you're shaping your brows, if you're plucking them or getting them waxed, you want to remove the hairs on the edges, on the corners here, that are going down. So you want to kind of remove the hairs so that your brows are more going up on the sides. Now, I really don't do that much makeup on myself anymore. You've probably seen me in many videos and I don't have any makeup on, but like I said, this is what I did for a career for a very long time, and I did bridal makeup for some very prestigious weddings. Okay, so let's do some contouring. Now, if you want your contour to stay all day, then I would suggest doing a cream along with a powder. So I have some Merit bronzer here. Again, this is great for aging skin because it's very hydrating and dewy. So what we want to do is kind of start up higher than you think, almost up on your cheekbone. Everything needs to get higher as we age, so always go higher than you think. I'm going to put some under my nose, and even if you want to give yourself like a bronzed look, you can put some like on the top of your nose where the sun would hit you. And even if you want to go on your jawline, if it's starting to sag a little bit right here, if you have a little bit of a double chin, you can take this under and drag it down so it blends. I like to do my forehead. That also kind of helps with where my hair is thinning from my postpartum hair loss. Now you can even take it on your eyes and kind of shadow the corners. And that will give you like a nice cat eye lift. Okay, and I'm going to blend this. Just take a nice, dense, flat brush like this. I like to start on my neck. You really need to make sure you get this blended really well. Okay, and let's do the hairline. I like to blend this back up into my hairline. And then we're going to do the cheeks, and we're going to go up. Okay, now if you really want that to stay all day, especially if you're going to be in the sun, then I would take a powder bronzer and go over top of that. So this is Too Faced Chocolate Soleil. It just smells really good, like chocolate. And it's a nice medium tone bronzer. So I like to take a angle brush, and we're just going to go back over top on what we just did. And that's going to set it. So it lasts all day. Okay, so I'm a very minimal makeup girl, but let's do a little bit of eyeliner. I like to use brown, at least lately, something a little bit softer. And what I'm going to do is smudge this on my upper lash line. Focusing on going outward. Now, if you have a very hooded eye, what you want to do is you want to go beyond, kind of below and beyond your crease if you want to do any type of a cat eye. That way it's not getting stuck up in that crease. You can see my hooded eye here. And you don't want to be tugging or dragging. You kind of want to keep your eye open. You can see right where you need to go. But definitely doing any type of a cat eye like this, or I should say a winged liner, is going to be attractive on most eye shapes. It gives you that nice almond shaped eye. It's going to make your eyelashes look longer. Some type of a denser brush with a smaller point, and soften all of that up. So don't worry if it gets kind of smudgy. You just don't want to do a liquid liner for this technique. You want to keep it pliable and soft so that you can diffuse it nicely. And then if you want to do an eyeshadow, what you want to do is you don't want to focus in your crease. You actually want to take your eyeshadow and bring it all the way up and through and over your crease. So you want to go lid all the way up and through. So if you have a hooded eyelid, that's the trick there. And don't be afraid to use something with a little bit of shimmer in it. Just a little, nothing crazy, but you don't need to do everything matte, 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 because you want light to reflect. And if you want to do some blush, this is like a physician's formula blush. Oh my goodness, hard to say. Physician formula blush. It has a little bit of shimmer in it. Okay, so we're going to take this and we're going to put it up on the high peaks of our cheeks. And you kind of want to stay away from this area of your cheeks. You want to kind of put it almost on your cheekbones. Uh-oh, this brush is shedding on me. Mascara on, but you always need to curl your lashes and start down closer to the root and then work your way out. And I'll show you my favorite mascara that I've been using for many, many years. It's actually by Too Faced. It's called Better Than Sex Mascara. I didn't choose the name, but that's just what it's called, and it's the one that works best for me. It really gives your lashes a very thick, plump look. And I think if you're going to invest in anything for makeup, your mascara is probably one of the most important. Your mascara and your brows. I think those make the biggest difference overall. And maybe concealer. I don't tend to wear a lot of concealer on my face, but when I do, I usually will do something like this CC Nude Glow by It Cosmetics. But yeah, something like a foundation that has skincare in it, or even this Ilium serum. So I don't do like heavy foundations on my face. I keep it light. So if you're still not liking like the shine and stuff, you can use some powders. And I just forgot that I have this new one here by Kosas. I'm going to dump a little bit in the cap. So the thing with this is it has a pink undertone, or it's not undertone, it is pink. So it's going to correct, again, any darkness that you have. And it's very light, and it's going to be even lighter if you use a brush. So this is definitely going to give you a nice, youthful, fresh glow. Okay, so there's that. I'll try and link as much of this stuff as I can for you. That's what this looks like. Nice and pinky. If we want to set everything, we can just use a transparent powder. This is just a Revlon powder. And you can just put this in your T-zone. Okay, And to finish everything off, I like to use this Tatcha Dewy Mist or any type of a setting spray, but I only want it like up on my cheekbones. And this will kind of just bring back like the freshness of your natural skin. We can even do a little bit of lipstick. Try and avoid the corners because that's going to bring your lips down, and you want, again, to make them look full and plump. So I think if I would have done foundation, I would have really had quite the transformation, and even eyeshadow, but this is a more kind of realistic makeup look for me. If I'm going out of the house anyway. Normally I don't do this just for working in the yard, but I thought it would be fun to give you some tips and tricks from a real makeup artist.